Welcome back to the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. We are your travel partners to South Africa. Check out this video. All right, guys, this is Mark Blanton for the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. And of course, I'm sitting with my wife.
Dr. Latasha Blanton from the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism.
Yeah, sorry, guys, she got distracted real quick, but we're back.
Squirrel.
Things happen. But yeah, we're outside today. So if you hear a lot of birds and things like that, don't be like, oh, there's something happening. No, it's just nature.
Yeah.
And we're outside at our home, and we're, the weather's amazing right now. I think it's roughly about 80 something degrees, a nice breeze. We went to a lake just earlier today, so we enjoyed that. Got an opportunity to just be in space and enjoy ourselves. And it wasn't just us; it was a few others out there. I think there was.
It was lots of people everywhere. Kids playing. There's like a water slide. There's a full lake you can swim in. People were really having a good time today.
Yeah. So this is South Africa, and of course we're in summer, so there's a lot going on. I think later on we're going to a little music event. We got invited to. When you hear all the time, especially in our case, we get invited to different things, not because we're special, because we're not special. No, we're not special at all, but people just do stuff, and when people bump into you, they're always inviting you to different events, and so that's just the lifestyle here in South Africa. Keep in mind, we want you guys to, like our channel, subscribe to our channel, just give it as much love as you can, because I just decided that it might be important to maybe get to 100,000 subscribers.
He's just gonna skip 50.
Yeah.
100,000.
Yeah, forget 75. We're going to the top, and so forth. So I just decided, and before it wasn't a big deal, because we always had tourists here. But I started realizing that the more people that subscribe and comment and all that good stuff, it kind of pushes our content out, and then they get to see us, and then they get to decide that they want to come to South Africa as well. So on that note, we had somebody not so long ago come to South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
She's in Georgia at this point, and so I'm going to bring her to the stage. And so y'all give a good round of applause to to the person I'm bringing to the stage, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Here she is. There she goes.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, my name is. I'm doing well, thank you. My name is Angie. I'm originally from Connecticut, born in New York, living in Atlanta. I've been here since 2013, and I'm retired military. Running in the rat race still, waiting for retirement.
Military. Which branch were you associated with?
Air Force.
Okay.
Don't talk about us, Mark.
No, we're gonna let it slide. I'm having a hard time holding down my love for the United States Air Force.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna let it go.
Yeah, she said let it go.
But I will make a couple snarky comments as we move forward. But
I'm gonna try to get him to behave, Angie.
I know we're the spoiled ones of the bunch.
Except
my apologies in advance.
Duly noted.
You said the Silver Air Patrol, right? Is that what you said?
No. Yeah, right.
Good one. No more. It was fun.
Too much.
So now you said you was raised in Connecticut. You grew up in New York. I do hear the accent.
Yeah, you definitely.
I do hear the accent. I do, believe it or not. How are you getting along down there in Atlanta?
I mean, Atlanta is Atlanta. The weather. I enjoy the weather. The weather is much better. And I know when I do compare South Africa weather to Atlanta weather.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar, through the season. So it's like it's not, too harsh in the winters, and fairly mild. I can go out in a sweater or something in the wintertime per se, because I'm used to the cold, right? And but here in Atlanta, they're bundled up and so on and so forth. So even when I was in South Africa, I was like, oh, I think it starts getting cold there, in April?
Yeah.
in April.
Yeah, a little bit later,
like
roughly about
June, July.
late May. You start noticing that it's not as hot at
Okay.
night. By June, we're kind of like, what happened? By
Okay.
July, like, this
All
doesn't
right.
this isn't fair. We've been good, and this is what happened. Then by September, we're starting to creep back up.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of reminded me that of Atlanta weather. That was another positive piece there. So yeah, it's pretty mild here during the winters. We've had a few cold days, but it's nothing compared to what Northeast is experiencing.
Yeah. I've been hearing things it's been passing on my phone as a notification, and then I go to the door and I look outside and I see this or this, whatever you see, and
Right.
that's roughly about in Fahrenheit. It's roughly about 85 degrees, and so forth. So it's South Africa,
Right.
So tell me this. So why did you come to South Africa? You had all these other options, and I know we spoke earlier. That's a bird, by the way. We had all these. You told me about some other places that you went to, but why did you come to South Africa? What happened?
Well, it was more or less the ease of it. I think it was. It was just basically as if I was flying from Atlanta to California per se. It wasn't a big hoopla when you got to the airport. Of course, you go through, customs, things of that nature, but it was very smooth and very just easy, and they were very welcoming. And you stamp your passport and you keep on moving, So that's what I really appreciated, and I fell in love with the airport, of course. I was in awe. So yeah, and South Africa just was always on my radar.
So I know we had talked a little bit off camera before we started the recording, but you said you came to South Africa in 2022. So tell me about that experience.
Sure. So, yeah, so I was in Rwanda. I was there for 2 months. I was like, at the time, I must state that during my travel, I was actually, looking at, where do I want to retire? Like I knew I didn't want to retire in the US. So that was one of my things that I was, contemplating. And I said, well, this would be a good opportunity to say, is this a place for you? No, yes, what have you.
Of course.
And I got to Tanzania. I was there for 3 months. I enjoyed it. Again, it was a nice place to visit. It wasn't for me. Went to Rwanda. Again, beautiful place, nice place to visit. People are great. Wasn't for me. Then I decided, okay, so it's either going to be Kenya or it's going to be South Africa for my next go around. So I I was looking at Kenya seriously because, of course, we're right next door to Rwanda. And next thing you know, I just decided, I was like, the visas, up and down about visas and how long and may or may not take. And then I went on to South Africa's site and I started looking at the requirements, and I'm like, okay, that's all I need is my US passport and I'm in. So I said, you know what? I'm going to South Africa. So I booked my flight from Rwanda to South Africa. Yeah, it was great.
So now you did speak of 2 other countries before. You said Tanzania, and you said that wasn't exactly for you. And I think there was another country, I can't remember which.
Rwanda.
So, I mean, those are very popular locations for African Americans that are like, I'm going to use the term, using YouTube, looking at what's available and seeing what's there. And a lot of them are selecting there. And some people are making it a great go of it. So what happened? Okay, you said you went there, you enjoyed it.
And she stayed an extended period of time in each place.
Yeah, so I think you are a subject matter expert. I know y'all don't have those in the Air Force, but in the Army.
That's it.
I'm so sorry.
You couldn't resist. I know.
Yeah, it was right there. I was like, I'm gonna let that one go. But you got an opportunity to put together a good, a little bit of information. Why wasn't it for you, if you don't mind me asking?
I know. Well, there's definitely a language barrier. That's one. I did meet, some wonderful diasporans, from around the world, right? So connected with them. But I think for me, it was, and also you have to understand too, they were just going through a transition as well with
Hmm.
their president. So, things are back and forth. Not that anything was bad or going on or anything. It was just like you could see that there was a change happening. And so I was just like, it's nice, it's beautiful. Come back to visit, and vacation times or something like that. But for long-term living, some people are there still and they're loving it. But for me and my personality, it just wasn't for me.
Okay, and I'm assuming that applied to Rwanda as well. Or is there a different story?
Yep, same thing. Rwanda, definitely a language barrier there. People were nice though. The younger people are the ones that, are actually speaking English and things, but they're trying to retain their language, and I can't really blame them. And so you do have to adjust to, to their language. And, you pick up words here and there. Not that that's a problem, because I did do that. I think for me more so was the weather. I think it was because it was really during the time I was there. It might have just been the time that I was there too. It was like really raining,
Oh.
So and we're so high up, it was just a lot of rain, and I was just like, I'm but it's beautiful,
Yeah. Okay. So then at some point you decided to say, you know what?
No.
Oh, am I missing something?
You're
Go for it.
something. So you came in 2022, you visited South Africa. You were telling me about how it was when you first came, but something happened for you to want to return. So just talk to me a little bit about 2022, and now you want to come back in 24.
And I apologize. I think I got my year mixed up. It was 2021. I left in 2022. So I do apologize.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay, no problem.
Yep. So I arrived in South Africa November 1st of 2022. Okay. And like I said, when I got to the airport, and again, mind you, it was, they had the COVID standards and, requirements that you had to abide by, which was still very easy process.
Sure.
Went in, handed, what they needed, then went and did, my immigration passport. They stamped it, how long you were here, or basically it wasn't even how long you're here. They just automatically give you the 90 days.
Yeah, off the top.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay. And so I was like, that felt really good, of course. And so when I got to the airport and then getting through that, and I actually walked out into the opening or whatever, like when you first walk out, and I was just like, oh my God, this is like really, really nice. Like just really, really nice. And so I'm walking through the airport. I actually, what did I do? I went upstairs. I think I went to go grab something to eat or something, because it was really early when it was at night, but it was really early. So I was just kind of exploring the airport, and I was just like, wow, this is nice. I was window shopping, because you shop in the mall, like a mall. And I'm like, okay. So I had to get to my Airbnb. I got my Airbnb about 6:30 that morning. So I caught a Uber. Went to my Airbnb, and this was a lady that owned her own, Airbnb, if you will, on her property, about maybe 15 minutes from the airport. So I actually was, staying there, and I stayed there for about a month.
Ooh, okay.
And it just kind of gave me an opportunity to kind of explore the area. Now, I was in the area of, I want to say Brom, if that sounds familiar to you. It's right outside of, what is it?
Yeah, Bromfontein.
Okay, yeah, I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I'm not sure, but it was outside of the airport, and in like 15 minutes. And I was able to go to the mall that was in their area, and I was like, oh, this is impressive. And it's kind of, again, reminds me of Atlanta. It's kind of like wherever you settle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily have to leave that area. Like everything is right there for you. And in Georgia's the same way. You could live in Atlanta, you could live in Marietta. Everything you need is right in those areas. So you really don't have to go anywhere unless you want to. And I was like, okay, that's when it started clicking. Like, this reminds me of Georgia. And I was impressed by the malls. I said, okay, you can do a little clothes shopping. You can go here and go to Checkers and do a little grocery shopping. You can carry your carts all across. I was like, this is good. This is good. And instantly, I was just like sold. Now, as I was watching, I was on YouTube a lot. And like I said, when I got to South Africa, is when you guys started showing up on my feed. I don't know, that AI stuff is something else, whatever it is, right? But you started showing up on my feed and I started watching your videos. And I was just, and you guys were showing all of South Africa. And I'm like, this is what they're doing? It was like, because I was like basically exploring on my own, didn't have a clue, but I was okay with that. But when you guys came up and started showing different places and the, Kruger and doing the, you showed a couple of houses and you were just kind of doing a lot of different things in restaurants and things. And I was like, wow. And then I started exploring and I said, okay, I actually moved closer to Santon. And I was right outside. I was over by Melrose is where I was at an Airbnb there. And I stayed there for really the rest of my time. So I was able to explore a lot more around, going into Rosebank and Santon City and just things like that and exploring. And like I said, I was sold.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
So you explored on your own and you still felt that you needed to come back and see some other stuff. So you saw our content. What made you decide to pull the trigger and come back and bring your daughter?
Well, because I can't stop talking about it. And I can't stop talking about it. I mean, when I see things on YouTube and in South Africa, I stop, I click on it instantly, see what's going on. I'm watching the news. You'd think I was there, honestly. You'd think I was sitting there right now because I'm sitting there watching South Africa news, and I just, it just puts me in a happy place. I had so much peace when I was there. And I will tell you, like I would say within that first month, I was there for the 90 days, but within that first month, I knew I wanted to extend my visa, which I did. And I extended it and I stayed for 5.5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't want to leave, but I was like, I don't want to be an undesirable, so I have to leave. So it was just like, okay, this is where you want to be, start getting busy.
So now you was here because, people are, how can I explain it? People want to chat with us sometime and they like, okay, I just need the whole plan on how to move to South Africa. Never been. I've seen it in video. And I heard you say you had been here for a while, and then you developed the appetite to possibly live here. Is that right?
Yeah, you have to experience it. Like you can't, you can't come for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You could fall in love with it, of course, but I think you have to either, if you have the time, you're able to spend a lengthy, amount of time there and explore different things, whether it's, like experiencing day-to-day activity like I did, like grocery shopping, I had to go to the bank at the, and, in order for me to extend my visa, I had to go through that process and, bring it to immigrations and things of that nature. So it was just like I was getting used to the day-to-day, like grocery stores here 24/7, you know what I mean? There, you have to be, and it reminded me of the olden days and back in the day, and I won't disclose my age, but yeah.
I'm with you.
Where grocery stores were closed on Sunday. The stores are closed on Sunday. Things closed at 5, 6 o'clock. If you didn't have your groceries done by then, you're done. Until the next day. So those things started coming. It's like reminding me of back in the day, like, oh my god, when I was a kid. And then here it's just like 24/7. You could go to the grocery store at 2 o'clock in the morning in some cases if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So it just did something. It put me at peace. I was relaxed. The people were so very nice. I had the Uber drivers. They were also nice. And, of course, they were like, oh, you're from America. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, oh, why South Africa? I'm like, why not? And I said, don't believe the hype. You know what I mean? So, I just met a lot of really nice people along my travel. And when I was speaking to my daughter, and I was impressed about the young people that were there as well, the young professionals and things, and what they're doing. And my daughter is 32, and so I was just, and she's well traveled. I mean, she's traveled a lot. And, I was just like, South Africa is just it. You know what I mean? It has a vibe. It's good for everybody, but there's just opportunity. You know what I mean? So I couldn't stop talking about it. For her birthday, I said, you know what? I plan on going to South Africa. Will you want to go? And she was like, because I was either going to just do the tour, the real estate tour in November, or and then it was like her birthday, and she was like, which was in September, and she was like, oh, I want to go for my birthday. So I was just like, okay, so let's do your birthday. You know what I mean? And so that's when we came in September for her birthday. And let me tell you something, she fell in love.
It happens for some odd reason. I don't know why, but it just does.
Yeah. She actually, we stayed up in Leonardo, and she was funny because the apartment there was absolutely great. So thank you very much. She enjoyed it. She's very social. She has a hospitality background. And so she was so funny. She would go to, in the evening, would come back from dinner or something. Next thing you know it, she's like, I'll be back. And I'm like, well, where are you going? It's like 12 o'clock at night. Like, where are you going? She's at the bar, talking to talking to people in the bar, upstairs. And it was just like, okay, I'm just gonna let you do your thing. I mean, because that's just her personality. She just she's only worked 5-star hotels and things of that nature, so she's familiar. So she connected with people at the hotel and things. So yeah, she was loving life.
Isn't that beautiful though, when you bring a young person somewhere and you get to see them have a good time and just kind of don't really want to stick up under you? They're not afraid. They can be just as social as they want to be. I love that.
Yeah. I did. I really was so happy that she felt, comfortable, of course, and instantly as a mom, I'm like, you know what I mean? This is your first time here. You're out wandering around. And it's like, but basically you got my personality. So I'm going to have to let you go. Yeah. And you're a grown woman. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have to, yeah. And she went and got spa treatments and she just enjoyed herself. And we went to the Mall of Africa, and she flipped out. Like, she bought so many clothes. Like, I'm like, Zena, you gonna be able to fit that stuff? But she was like, oh my God, Mom, do you see the price on this stuff? And she just went crazy shopping.
I love that. No, that's good. I like to hear stories about young people, because people ask us all the time, like, would this be a place for their young kids? And I'm thinking, if your kids over 25, they're going to come here and they're going to find their own way. They're going to find a lot of like-minded, go-getting young individuals, professionals, and it'll either motivate them or it'll put them back in their shell. But what we found is that most of them get motivated because these kids here really are doing a lot. Yeah. They're really doing a lot.
They are. And I'm just like, impressed by, the hospitality, the service level that they provide, and not only that, but I think the respect that they have for like their elders, whether if they're
Yeah.
5 years older or beyond. They're just very respectful to people. Here, it's been lost. It's just lost, and it's sad. But that's where I was just like, this is where I see myself. I said the only downside is that I would have to take driver's lessons. you know, but
Yeah, no,
I don't know how easy it is. I was sitting there imagining myself in the Uber, like driving the road on the opposite side, and I'm saying, I don't know how this is going to work.
it's funny you say that. I'll tell everybody the same thing. The moment that you get tired of walking,
You will drive.
you will drive.
Mm.
And a lot of people ultimately, like we did back in 2012 or 2013,
Yeah.
whatever year it was, we rented a car. We was tired of walking. We did take some of those minibus taxis. We did just to see
did
what.
you?
Yeah, we did it. Just
This was like
and it was
before
simple.
Uber was the big thing.
Yeah, and it was simple.
Okay, yeah, because you've been there for a long time, yeah.
Oh yeah, many years. And but it was interesting. I said, oh, okay, they got this thing gamed out pretty good.
Mm.
But we wanted to go, certain places, and so we just rented a car and we just started driving.
Yeah.
And it was a tag team effort, but we got it done. And like my sister, who she moved here too. She figured it out. She's like, okay, I'm moving here, and now and her husband. And they started out like you. I don't know if I'm going to be able to drive.
Stay to the left.
And now they are constantly in their cars.
Wow.
Obviously they were able to buy very nice cars when they came here.
Mhm.
I think he's Range Rover, and she's in a Mercedes coupe or whatever. And they're all over the place. You can't stop them. They're unstoppable.
That's wonderful.
So if
You can do it.
yeah, and they did it in a short period of time.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. So now obviously this was your second time, and and obviously there's a big difference between staying where we put you and staying in the Airbnb. Is that right? Is it different or about the same?
What? Oh, it was definitely different. I mean, yeah, by all means. I mean, because the level of service that you introduce to people, in their accommodations is it's just beyond none. I mean, again, trying to, doing it and maneuvering on yourself. I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. You're a backpacker or you're just doing things. But if you're out there and you have the ability to use your service, you definitely have the top of the line experiences out there for people to enjoy. The hotel was, like I said, it was so enjoyable. The space, it was a 2-bedroom actually, apartment. Fell in love with it. The doorman, I know I went down, I forgot what I did, but I went downstairs. I think we just kind of ordered some food, and I think I went down, and this is good in the Airbnb, you order your food, you go downstairs, you get your food. Did that at the Leonardo. So I go downstairs and I'm waiting. The doorman's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, the guy's here to deliver food." And he was like, No. We bring that up to you. And I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, he just kind of shooed me away." And I was just like, "Okay." He said, "We got you. We got you." I was like, "Okay, thank you."
What's that like being taken care of?
Nothing like no other. Yeah, you don't get that kind of service here. You don't. You get attitude. You get if you ask for something. Actually, they celebrated for Zania's birthday. When they came in, I had to take pictures of it. But for her, they came in and decorated her room, and made it so beautiful. So when she came in, she was like, "Oh my God." I said, "Oh my goodness, look at this," because they were telling me that, we're going to have a surprise and so on and so on. I'm like, "Oh, okay," and then when we came back, it was just like, "Oh, wow," so, I mean, it's just like they're caring, they're humble, they're, they're making sure that you're okay. You know, in the morning, you're getting off the elevator, coming in to the lobby here, and there, everybody's like, "Good morning, how are you doing?" Or "How was your day?" You know, and so it's yeah, everybody's so pleasant.
Yeah, and you know, and obviously when we're setting these things up, it's not by happenstance because
Hmm.
we like these things as well. We've been
Hmm.
traveling to South Africa so long, even when we were going back and forth for years, and then we live here, and that level of hospitality is here. But
Hmm.
again, a lot of our people don't come to enjoy these things. There's mostly Caucasians or wherever they come from.
Hmm.
They come down here and they veg out. They do the most.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
They're like, you know what? I'm coming down here. I'm from America. I'm from the
Europe,
UK. I'm
Europe.
bringing my British pounds, and I'm going to hang out here for a whole month, and I'm going to get this service, and I'm going to enjoy it. And
Yeah.
so we always felt that since nobody was providing that for us, or even marketing it to us, we
Hmm.
said, you know what, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to form those relationships that we need. We're going to go to all the big extravaganzas like that in tourism, and make a space for us. So when we do approach the owners of any hotel group, currently they all know who we are.
Hmm.
They pretty much everybody knows who we are, and so when we want to do stuff, they're like, okay, well, what can we do to be a part of it?
Yeah.
And so even with your trip and every trip that came before you and after you, they get to enjoy the fact that they're going to get that level of service. So
Hmm.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I really did, and my daughter did too, as well. Um,
Excellent.
yeah, she was like, yeah, and again, I mean, she spends a lot. She travels to Dubai a lot, so
Hmm.
and again, working 5-star hotels. There's just a certain thing. You know what I mean, that she's looked for. And I know just before we were leaving, she was like, "Mom, did you call the hotel and confirm my reservations and so on and so forth?" I was like, "Samia, we're good." And she was like, "No, I know how these things work. You need to call the hotel and make sure that they have it. So I don't want to get there, and then all of a sudden they're like, 'Oh, there's an issue with your reservation.'" I said, "Zania, we're good." So she was like, and I was like, and I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is your world, and you know how things can happen. I said, but I think we're okay. So.
Yeah, and she's right because we've been, we spend a lot of time in these locations, talking to GMs, talking to ownership, and having meetings. And yes, we see people from not just people from the U.S., but other people. They get to that front desk and they
Mhm.
went through a third party
Oh
booking
yeah.
agent, and I'm gonna go on, I'm just using one TripAdvisor, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna book all this stuff, and then they fly for how many hours? They get here, and now things have went sideways, and there's
Yeah.
no one to call,
Mhm.
and they end up having to either pay,
Again.
yeah, pay more money or
Mhm.
whatever, find themselves in a bad space. But with us, if let's say somebody comes in and there's a problem with the reservation, we're here all the time in South Africa. We make a phone call, or better yet, sometimes we just send a text,
Mhm.
and
It's
and
done.
and then it's done, and it's like, okay, no problem. And then 10 times out of 10, and I mean that 10 times out of 10, you'll probably get an upgrade. You're going
Mhm.
to get an upgrade because, and then they're going to, as you go off to your room and be like, wow, this is amazing, they're calling us, apologizing, saying,
Absolutely.
I'm so
Mhm.
sorry that happened. We're going to take care of your person, because they're with you guys. So um, that's a lot of what you call it, not having to worry about things sometimes simply because of that.
Yeah. 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 They're very accommodating. The drivers that you connected us with also just very accommodating. Um, yeah. Even the safari that we went on, and I can't think of the name. It begins with a P.
It's
The
okay.
what is it?
I said it go Peelinsburg.
Yeah, there it is. Um, Went there, had a great time. Zania enjoyed herself because I told Zania because I love nature, I love outdoors and things, and my daughter is on a different level, So I'm like, do you really want to, is this is something that you were planning on doing, and so on and so forth. She's like, I want to see the animals, and I'm like, oh, okay, So we went and did that. Had a great time. Ended up feeding a giraffe that was very greedy.
Yeah.
But
Very
yeah, we had a
Well,
really good time.
side note, Giraffe was greedy because Giraffe was pregnant. Giraffe just had a baby.
Oh,
That's why Giraffe was greedy.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, obviously, you ended up back in Atlanta, or the Atlanta area. I'm so sorry, and your daughter went back to Chicago. Have y'all been talking about South Africa amongst each other?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the
Well, she knows, like she knows for me, she knows that I definitely want to retire. I think for her, she's still like in that professional role, but
Mm,
she's also looking at options like, where she has the flexibility of being able to be point A, point B, whenever. I think like Savannah, that's your daughter's name, correct?
yes,
Savannah, and she's able to come and, is she living there now?
she's moved here now. She
Oh,
she's
okay.
yeah, she's
So
been going back and
probably like before, where it was like back and forth and visit for long periods of time and things of that nature.
forth.
Um, but I will tell you, we were we were in Rosebank, and I forgot what we were doing. We were going somewhere, and they were doing a lot of building. They're doing a lot of building, a lot of luxury apartments and things. And when she did the conversion of the preset, like the sale price, she was like, "I'm going to buy one of those. If that's the price, I'm going to buy one tomorrow." Like she was excited. So it was one of those things I could see her, this being like a vacation home type of thing, and then
Yeah.
maybe later down the road, if maybe that might be a place that she would prefer to settle.
Yeah, there's a matter of fact, the real estate tour, that's really the purpose. Because we do a
Hmm.
lot of stuff not to it, but they actually do come and they get access I mean, they're literally talking to the developers. I
Hmm.
bring in developers and not just the sales agent, but the developers, and they're chatting with these people like, hey, whatever you want to do, let us know. We can make things happen for you. This is my project. I am financing this. This is our baby. And we
Hmm.
want you guys to come. And our people that come on a real estate tour, they initially walk in like they're going to be just talking to a
yeah.
realtor, and they, dot 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 dot, and
Hmm.
then they find out that they're talking to the developers. The developers like, what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? Yeah, we're willing to work with you in any kind of way because you guys came with the real South Africa,
Hmm.
and they start realizing very quickly, maybe by the day two, wow, we're getting access. We're getting real access to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
people and the movers and the shakers, the developers, and all these people to make it happen. But then, like you said, they start doing that calculation, and they start saying, "Well, damn, this is incredible," you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's good that she figured it out at such a young age. I mean,
Hmm.
she can start game planning in ways that, those of us that came later, she can lay a foundation forever
Yeah.
just because she came because you brought her, because that's exactly what happened.
Hmm.
You should
Mama,
you
it's your
should see
fault.
that.
It's your
Yeah,
fault,
mom,
Mama.
it's your fault,
I
You,
mom.
know.
you did this.
I
So
know.
what, so I know you were saying you want to look at retiring here, but what's the ultimate draw? Like, why retire in South Africa?
It. I think first, it's like quality of life. The quality of life there is like no other. It's better than here for sure.
Yeah,
you know, the quality of the food, the quality, just the air in itself. I mean, I came back. Let me tell you, I had to get my mind. The first time I came back when I was there in 2021, I had to book my flight to come back, and I had so much anxiety. I did not want to leave. I was just like to the last minute. And I'm like, and the only thing that really kept me was the fact that I was like, Andrew, you have to book a flight. You have to go because you do not want to become undesirable. And
yes,
you know what I mean? So I said, okay, so I booked a flight. When I came here, I was just miserable. And, got back in the ring and, started, going back to work and so on and so forth. And then the same thing happened, like the last day, the night before, we were scheduled to leave. It was just like depressing. It's just depressing. You just don't want to go. And I'm just like, why can't I just stay? Like, can't you just make me just a natural citizen?
Yeah.
Come on, just work for the sister here. But it's like one of those things that it just it's a calming thing. Again, you are able to do more. They have so many things to do. That I think that's what it is for me. They have so much to do, and for young people, like for young people, things they're limited on what they can do. But
Yeah.
there's just so much. I know last year, I think you guys did a trip for the jazz festival. So I know I was looking at that. I was trying to see when that was, happening, if they have a regular scheduled time for the jazz festival in Cape Town. I've never been. Durban, I know you have the real estate tour coming up.
Yeah.
But these are things, and I'm saying, like, those are my weekend things. Jayburg is my vibe. This is where I need to be. So,
Like Johannesburg.
I love Johannesburg.
Yeah, it's crazy for somebody who has access to Atlanta on a regular basis, because there are a lot of people in the States that are Black, regardless of where they live. They're like, oh, Atlanta. And Atlanta is amazing. It's changed a whole lot, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
We went there many years ago, a few years ago, and 100 years before that, I was like, oh, back in the day, the underground was the place to be. Back then, I could not afford it. I couldn't even begin to get a hotel room. So now I can. I'm much older and I have a few things, and it was still pricey. And I booked my trip thinking, thinking this is 1989 again, 1990 again. And I booked it and I went down there and I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened to the underground? This is not. And I was telling my wife about it. She was like, because she had never been. And I'm like, your underground is all that. It got everything. It got all the shops, it got everything. And I get down there and there's police cars everywhere. And there was nothing there.
And I'm looking at him like,
yeah.
I know you're not right.
And keep in mind, we're like all the time.
Yeah,
right. We don't have Joburg, and not even a little bit. And so it was a little disheartening. Let me just say that. It was a little disheartening.
I couldn't wait to leave. I was like, this is not my vibe. Like I don't roll like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But okay, cool. So again, I always tell people, and maybe you can explain it, because obviously you've been to some other African nations and you explained it very well. But just coming on a tour, to me, for us, it's a small bite. To say you got to go from working a 9 to 5 and then 2 weeks later you move to Africa. I think I think you're putting yourself in harm's way. I'm just gonna say, it's difficult. But if you come on a tour, like your daughter, she comes back again, she do another tour. She, over the years, she do another tour. She's going to get very comfortable with South Africa pretty quickly. And then there's no opportunity to have what they call it, that shop that everybody talks about, culture shop. There will be no culture shop because you've been here, you made friends, you know people. But I think, in my humblest opinion, it just starts with a tour.
Yeah, and you're right, absolutely. Just because I think just being able to connect, where we're coming from, and where the things that as a culture we enjoy, right? And also introducing us to things that you may not think we enjoy but end up enjoying, right? One of the things I know I definitely desire to do is a bush lodge. I can't wait to do one of those.
Are you talking about
it's just like the experience that you guys give. I think it's like, again, no other. It's the restaurant, the food experience, the shopping experience, just connecting people, like even the drivers. I mean, they're very, hospitable. They communicate a lot about things, about the culture, and so on and so forth. Um,
Mhm.
I need to take Zulu lessons.
Yeah.
I definitely do that. But just being able to, just indulge in the culture, understand, we think we know what happened, but we only know what went on based on what we see on TV, right? Um,
Exactly.
but when you're really speaking to people and things, in certain situations, we're kind of still hung up on it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and they're kind of trying to move past it. I'm not saying that they move past it, but they're trying to work through it, right?
Yeah.
And I think us coming there and understanding and respecting, what's going on. You know what I mean? I think that for me, it's just like really understanding where they're trying to go. They're not trying to constantly live in the past. I mean, you could just see, here's the thing. We're saying, like, I'm listening on the television and watching the news here, and it's like, oh, this is the greatest country. And I'm not saying,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
We have nothing on South Africa. I'm going to be honest.
It's
I'm
the
just
truth.
gonna be honest. We may think we do, but we don't. You know, and I really appreciated that experience. I appreciated that my daughter was able to experience that as well. And then on top of that, us being the majority, making moves and doing things. And I watch a lot of your videos, and I think I just watched one with the computer.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, just trying to, prep and prepare, plan, and just be a part, of South Africa. I mean, I look at it that like I'm going home when I leave. When I travel to Johannesburg, I am so happy. Yeah, like I am so giddy. You know what I mean? And I'm just like I'm going home for a visit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here for work. Type of thing.
Yeah.
I like that idea. That's kind of how you got to put it in your head so that you aren't, I won't use the word depressed, but that's the only word that keeps coming to mind.
Yeah.
That you have to do it that way so that you can function.
Exactly.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Been there, done
Stay positive. Yeah.
Well, what's funny, and that's why we set this company up, because we knew we had a whole other company in the U.S. doing big things, and we could have just stayed in that space and vegged out. We did everything. Everything that people were like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to have this lifestyle. I want to have a company that does this. We kind of were doing that. We actually were doing it. I'm like, for 10 years, and it sounds braggadocious, but it just was what it was. And even with all that being said, we still chose South Africa.
100%.
We still, after all of that, we still chose South Africa. And so I feel, and maybe you can second me or shoot me down, either or, it doesn't matter. If I feel that a lot of us can take advantage of what South Africa is, just even if it's only for 6 days, if they come and have that experience, they would go back to the United States, and they would be better off overall if they just come on that experience.
Yep.
What do you say, Air Force?
I say, I know you know what? But I do say, I agree. I think just like any amount of time that you spend there just to get the exposure, you're going to be sold. Like it's there. And especially if you're coming humble, like if you're humble to the experience, then you're gonna your eyes are gonna open up, and you're gonna find that little bit of peace that you've been searching for all your life. You're gonna find it, and because you've never felt it before,
Exactly.
and you realize during the holiday, was it Christmas, December? You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, does anybody do anything during December? Like everybody's, I
Yeah.
mean,
No.
it's like family matters. You know what I'm saying? Families is so important, and I think that I definitely respect it. And I think any of us that be able to um, experience South Africa at that level, that if we're making that move, that we need to. We're not trying to shouldn't be trying to change anything. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We, you want to assimilate
Yes.
to the
Yes.
culture. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
respect it. You know, um, if you can, do something to enhance it, great. Like something that you're doing, in introducing South Africa to basically the world, on your platform to the diaspora, then
Mm-hmm.
definitely, um, you're doing awesome. And I wouldn't change it. I think people just need to take an opportunity with the right mindset, to be able to go and visit. I don't agree with just getting up and go, even though it's tempting, right? To get up and, been there, done that, I'm going, I'm leaving, and that's it. But it's not going to work out if you don't have a plan. It really isn't.
Hmm. And then but then it'd be the country's fault because you don't have a plan.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah.
The
But
bad
I think
country.
that it encourages you. And I think your platform encourages people to understand that if you come in to visit, great. We want to have you. We want to show you, a better way. But in your platform, you're also letting people know. You see how these folks came over? They had a plan. They did this, they did that, and they followed these steps, and now look, they're living their best life. You know, and I think that's what's key. Because I came as in an Airbnb, and I enjoyed myself. I did. I didn't want to leave, so on and so forth. But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't as smooth as when I came, for the 2 weeks that I was there with you all. It wasn't. You know what I mean? So, but it helped. I don't regret it because I was like, oh, checkers, oh, this, oh, that. You know what I mean? And it felt good, to introduce those little things to my daughter and so on and so forth. And that then when we experienced, coming through you all in the hotel and the restaurants, and going to the safari and things, I mean, that was at a whole nother level.
Well, it's funny you say that because, well, first of all, I want to just say that, having the right mindset, or as somebody said to me a long time ago, there's an American that we had over here, and she came here many, many, many
Hmm.
times, but she had saw our content, like, and we're out doing our things. And the only reason we're out doing these things because we were introduced by South Africans
Mhm.
so long ago, is 10 years prior. And so
Hmm.
when we was coming, we was having this experience
Yeah.
like all the time. Like what the experience you were talking about or people see, we was having it all the time. And so
Hmm.
so we couldn't stay in Northern Virginia. We was there for the shortest amount of time, and then we was back in South Africa. But she said, let me back up. She had been coming for an extended period of time, and a lot of times, I'm talking about a lot, and she never had
Hmm.
the experience that she ultimately decided, wow, I love South Africa, until she contacted us. I set her up. We set
Wow.
her up for success, her and her family. And she was like, holy crap, I've been coming here all these years and I didn't even know about
Mm.
any stuff and the stuff that I could do, to the point now, obviously we're at home. She got a house that she's building down the street. Um,
Mm.
she was that serious, but we had to kind of set her up for success, and
Yeah.
she's on her way. So she said, at this point, she's like, you know, these Americans, they come over here and they come with their Americanisms and stuff.
That
She says
part.
they need, yeah, that part. She says they need to have a little grace. They need to understand they got to have some grace. If they
Yeah.
did that, they would be much, much, much better off. And in the assimilation, as you I'm using your word, would just be such a smooth process, and they
Yeah.
won't have so many problems. And
Yeah.
and there would be those standing there because you
Mhm.
speak about the South Africans you run into, like even the ones you met like during our tour. We didn't purposely put those people there. We just
Mhm.
know that they exist, and
Mhm.
if we put you in that space, you're going to run into good people. Your daughter at the bar, I'm sure, ran into some good people,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm sure she did over free margaritas and whatnot, um, Long Islands and things like that. Things that for those guys who haven't been here, things happen here in South Africa. Good things, and and now she got friends, and obviously you're gonna
Yeah.
meet more people. But South Africa is special. And the last thing you said was that I remember was America ain't got nothing on South Africa,
That's beautiful.
and
It
I
doesn't.
agree.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And your heart has to be in it. Your heart has to be in it. And like when I watch your videos or anything that has to do with South Africa, it puts me in a happy place. So if I'm feeling away, I have to watch a video, and it puts me in a happy place. I'm telling you, because this place can get to you. It really can. And just kind of, just imagining your future. But yeah, South Africa has a lot to offer to your inner self, your spirit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People may not, the locals may not understand that based on what we've experienced here, but they have a gem. They really do. They have a diamond right there. And yeah. So I'm hoping to make that permanent stay.
All right.
No, I'm sure you will. Like I said, there are those that have been in the. There are people who just arrived. We just did a video with Marcus and Brandy. They came on a real estate tour 2 years ago. 2 years ago, yeah, about 2 years ago. Something to that
We'll be
effect.
3 this year.
Yeah,
2 years ago.
and they just arrived. They've been here about 3 weeks now, and of
Mhm.
course we're assisting them with certain things, making sure everything goes well. But again, people are smart,
Hmm.
very smart, and I assume that he is because he was able to, we chat with him. He could take a plan. He was in the military too. He was an army, so
Hmm.
he's he's squared away. But
That's 4.
but no, but he's able to move things along, and
Right.
in the same face, this dude is so happy. This
Mhm.
dude is like, I wake up in the morning, and even his wife's like, I listen to the birds. I never even
Yes.
thought about it before. So
No.
I
Yes.
listen to the birds. I just enjoy the breeze, and I
Yeah.
enjoy everything. And hopefully, with everything going on in the United States, and whatnot, whatever's happening is happening. I guess I don't know because I'm here, but I hear things. But
Hmm.
South Africa is a good landing spot, a soft
Soft
landing,
landing spot.
a soft landing
Yeah.
spot, and hopefully
It
we'll
is.
get here soon,
We hope you get here soon.
very soon.
Yeah. No, you did. And you spoke about the birds, and I know when I first got there, what's the bird that makes the loudest noise in the morning?
The Hadida.
Whoa,
Oh my!
man. I tell you, when I was there, I was like, you got to be kidding. But then when I came there this second time, when I tell you I appreciated hearing that bird, I really did. I wish like they would, it was just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm home. Yes,
Yeah,
it was the best sound ever.
You do need to get used to it.
that bird is out of control.
Ah!
I was like, what? And that was when I first came. I was like, what in the world is that? And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I'm watching, and every morning around the same time, and it was like 5 o'clock because, of course, the sun is out 5 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning, and so that was, something that that was an adjustment, but it was a beautiful thing because it really. I'm an early riser, anyways, so
Mhm.
it really just enhances your day, like it just makes a difference, and then to have that start your day, yeah. I really appreciated that. I really and one of the things that I know it was allowed to me to reflect on when I was there the first time, and I stayed at the Airbnb, was that I was in my unit, and all of a sudden I heard kids outside playing and laughing and running, and I was like,
like we
Where
used
do
to.
they do that anymore in the US? You know what I'm saying? They don't, they really don't. And so when I heard that, I was like, wow, these are the sounds, the sounds that you miss hearing. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So guys better pack your bags. Make a plan.
So this is the part where you get to, if you have any questions of us, something that if you want us to answer, yeah. Is there anything, anything?
I think for me, it's like I'm on that mindset of, developing a plan. Like what's the best time to, open up a bank account? Can I open it up now? Can I, start putting money into that bank account now, per se? What is, as a retired person, what does that look like tax wise? Like, what does that look like for me still being a U.S. citizen, living in South Carolina? So those are the types of questions that I would, because the U.S. will get.
I would. Matter of fact, I will make this strong attempt. Here's the deal. As far as opening up an account, if you have a non-resident account, you can actually go to some of these banks, especially FNB, I think Standard as well. If you don't have a resident status here, and you got to keep that, they're not trying to keep you out. They just it's for the residents. It's like a South Africa, you can't go to America and just open up a Bank of America account because you want to and put it in. But they do have a non-resident account. So when money goes into that account, it needs to be accounted for. It needs to be accounted. Like you wire it in, it goes through the whole wire process, and then it will be in that account. And then when you get here, you can use your card to swipe and things along that line. And then you can also, like if you like obviously let's say you got like a USAA account. Does Air Force qualify for USAA?
Listen, I have USAA. Oh, wait a minute. I have Navy Federal.
Okay.
Go. I see you getting them back, ain't you? It's like
no, I'm just messing with you. But I wasn't sure they qualified. Just from what I've seen.
He's a mess.
This is so funny. Anyway, I always have Marines nipping at my heels all the time, so I got to saying. But no, and so then you can use your card, take out the money and deposit it in your account at the ATM. So there's a few checks and balances, but it can be done. And then once let's say you applied and you got one of the visas, right? And of course we can assist people with that you send an email to outreach@therealsouthafrica.com. We got a company that can assist. So for example, if you retired military, there's a good possibility that you could qualify for a particular visa. So but once you do that, then you can upgrade it to a resident visa. Now you're qualified to be here, you're supposed to be here, you can be here, you can walk into the bank, and the only thing they're going to ask you for is your passport and then your resident visa is like a little thing that's in your passport. They're going to ask for that, and after that you can transact just like you would in the States. Okay. The only thing you won't be able to do, because they have a thing called an SAID, which is that like they're equivalent to their social security number. You won't have one. So as far as credit is concerned, here you will have to kind of like wait a little bit, but homes are different. Cars and credit cards or whatever, but you still, you still are an American citizen. So you can still use your Discovery, your Visa cards that you have in the States. Fortunately, that's what we do. We use a lot of our cards from the States. No problem.
Okay.
And then once you move from that from temporary status to an even more grander status, then you get more access. So but it takes time, and there's levels to this. So that's one question. And then I think, what was the other question? Taxes.
You're still American citizen.
Yeah, you're still American citizen, but you got to understand that's where you go talk to a tax person, because how much time you spend in this country or how much time you spend in the U.S. is based on how it works. And then when you're here, You can talk to a tax people. They're everywhere, and they'll tell you, okay, well, you've been in the country more than this much time, so this is what you have to do, and dot
Mhm.
dot 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 dot. But you won't get double taxed at the end of the day. You just
Mhm.
gotta, get a little tax professional, maybe somebody more experienced than an H&R Block person, or
Yeah.
yeah, just somebody who can,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's to your advantage.
Mhm.
Uh, and just have that conversation. So those shouldn't be things that hold somebody back from saying, "Oh, I don't want to move to South Africa because this and this and this."
Mhm.
Misinformation out there.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a lot of it. Trust me,
Mhm.
we run into it. I'm like, who told you that? You
Mhm.
know, and but once you get past that and you realize that this country is set up pretty good in pretty much every area, from
Mhm.
including insurance and all these good things, and you get to take advantage of it, and they have
Mhm.
no problem including you. Um, versus on that side, you're like, I don't. Well, the
Like,
states,
I'm a
Yeah.
citizen. Like, yeah, no,
yeah,
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
still can't access it.
yeah, you,
Yeah.
you you are a citizen, but we're not gonna give you that business loan. It ain't gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So,
appreciate that.
so,
Yeah.
so is that it? Is that
That
it?
is it. That is it, I think, that I
Awesome.
have
Okay.
questions about. Yeah. Because I did have an opportunity. There was one day I did go see it was I don't even know how you classify it actually, because I'm trying to figure out the difference between a cluster home. What is that? Is that like a townhouse?
Yes, it's like a cluster. It's like a townhouses. They all got their own front. They all got their own face, but they're kind of like not facing each other or side by side. It's like a
Okay.
cluster. It's like
Okay, they're
this.
detached though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. For the
Yes.
Okay.
most.
Yes.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Okay. I
And
gotcha.
yeah, it all depends on the developer and what was requested 1,000 years prior for them to build it. But yeah, those. I mean, all the home options are here. There's more home options here than there are in the states, and I bought a few homes in the states.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I
So
think the one I went to go, I think it was in Midrand. It was a newer development. It was in Midrand. I can't think of it. I got the paperwork. She's provided me, but um, at that time she was stating that they like the developer, depending, because I was just like, well, as a foreigner, and she was like, the down payment is 20%. So I was like, well, how, you know what I mean? It was just like, so is it depending on the developer, or is it depending on?
it's dependent on the bank and what your status is while you're here.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
um, obviously the price of homes are or less expensive than the states. Let's just say
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so you got to keep in mind, if you don't live here, they can't. You got to have a significant investment to say, okay, they're worth it,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't. They can't attack your social security number.
Nope.
They can't mess with your
Okay,
credit
gotcha. Mm-hmm.
and all these things. So they're like, okay, since we can't do that, we need you to put down,
Yeah.
a good percentage down
Good
on the
amount.
home,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would go ahead and build it, and then we would go ahead, and then we will approach the banks, or the bank, because
Mm-hmm.
you've already approached them, but like a developer would approach the bank and say, hey,
Hey.
we got this person, they got this much down. Let's see what we can do as a bank, because we've sold 100 homes to you guys. What can we do to help these people out, and so
Okay.
forth. And
So it
sometimes
depends. Yeah.
that's why doing the
Yeah.
real estate tour, bringing developers, and it
Mm-hmm.
takes for like 2 days to realize, after the developer don't been in the room talking to them, because in their mind they're still stuck in the U.S. or the
Mm.
U.S. But after about 2 days, they kind of drop that pretense. They're like, oh, I'm not worried about the U.S. anymore,
Mhm.
and they start realizing, oh, the developer,
Can make
that's
decisions.
that's my
Yeah.
friend,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the real South Africa has a developer in the room with us. Oh, let me reach out to the developer and just
Yeah.
tell them I'm with the real South Africa. Then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh my!" Well, the developer said, and he's
That's
gonna
all you need.
contact his guy, and
Mm-hmm.
things. They'll work things out. But you gotta kind of want it.
Mm-hmm.
Just But if you come on your own, let's say one like a person, you're not gonna get anything to those levels, because
Right.
we got plenty international people from the
Mm-hmm.
UK and all these other places, Germany, coming in and with cash, or a good sizable down payment.
Mm-hmm.
They generally don't do a lot. How can I say it? Our relationship as Americans, especially Black Americans, we don't have that formalized here
Mm-hmm.
in South Africa. We want to transact, but they're looking at, hey, we've worked with 7,000 Germans.
Right. You're
Just this
right.
past
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's pretty easy. But a
Wow.
Black American, what are they?
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's the risk. So you're going to need a developer or somebody, hired than somebody who's a real estate agent that you
Mm-hmm.
find on the listing to,
Okay.
to
Cool.
get you across the line.
All right. Well, I know I appreciate what you all do. Y'all do a
Uh,
lot. Y'all
thank
do a
you.
lot.
Yeah, well, it's easy because we're here. We see these people all the time. A lot of times they contact us because they're like, "Hey, it'd be great for Americans to be able to do dot 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 dot,"
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden they're like, "Well, we don't know any Americans. Oh, we saw these people from the real South Africa. Let's
Mm-hmm.
send them an email and let's see how we can engage them." Like just recently, I I I stopped doing television for those guys. Not saying I'm trying to just not want to do it. I just didn't want to do it because they asked a lot of questions, and I don't feel like I'm qualified. Like I'm the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But when things happen in the U.S., they will send us a message. Hey, can you come on TV? And I'm like, I'm not qualified. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times people don't realize that I will call what's his name, Phil Scott, from the
Mm-hmm.
African Diaspora News Channel. I mean, it's what he does. He does it all the time. And I sent him a message say, hey, they need somebody to appear on national TV here, kind of like CNN or
Mm-hmm.
Fox. And then he will go on early in the morning in Texas, and he will give the stuff.
Okay.
I'm qualified, but I
No.
could do all this stuff.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very
Thank you
good.
for your time today, young lady. I really, really am happy that I got to see your face again. I'm sorry I didn't see you when you were in town, but
It's
kind
okay.
of where we were, but I don't think we were around.
I think
So
you're in Cape Town,
yeah,
actually.
we were on the train.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
were on the train. Um, so thank you again. If you need anything, you know how to reach out to us. We're absolutely here to assist you. Um, so yeah, send my love to Xenia. I hope she's enjoying her 32nd year.
Yes, I definitely will. I definitely will. And again, I appreciate you all for what you do. Again, we had a beautiful time. And yes, looking to returning soon.
All righty. Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you.
All
Talk to
right.
you.
All right. Bye bye, guys.
Peace. All right, guys, that was amazing. We got a chance to actually, because we didn't get a chance to meet her while she was here, so we got
No.
her first impression, and then what happened to her when she got back.
Yeah.
We was out doing some other tourism related activities that we keep finding ourselves in, and of course, we want to bring those activities to you as well. Um, Basically, all you have to do is just go to our website, therealsouthafrica.com, and book a trip. Just book a trip. Trust me, it will be probably the most the best investment you can make into yourself, especially if you're looking at having an amazing time. And of course, there are those out there that are looking for somewhere else to be. You got to start your journey now. As you see, Angie started her journey
Some time
some
ago.
time ago, and she's creeping up on that mark. One day she's going to be standing behind me back here.
I know it, knocking on the door. I
Yeah.
told y'all I was coming.
Yeah. So all I can say is that we will see you guys here in sunny South Africa.
Good night, guys.
Welcome to the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. This is one of the most amazing places in the entire world. Here you're looking at Cape Town, one of the most beautiful cities and always voted in the top 10 of the best cities in the world for tourism. And then of course, we have one of the major hubs for business, commerce, and of course, nightlife, fun, adventure, food, you name it, it's here. This right here is Johannesburg, South Africa. And then of course, we cannot forget the playground here in South Africa. I'm trying to tell you now, if you haven't spent any time here, that's probably the next best thing you could do is come and spend some time in this beautiful city, which we like to call here in South Africa, the playground, Durban, South Africa. Of course, we have all these trips on our website that you can book in 6, 10, and 13-day packages. Of course, the beaches here are incredible. I'm trying to tell you, and then just the vibe itself. And then of course, the Durban cuisine is second to none. So you have some choices to make. Where am I going to take my next vacation? Where am I going to enjoy myself the best? Where am I going to take her on that special trip? You know, where do I want to go and see something different? Like I said, that's what you're looking at right now is Johannesburg, South Africa. Now, we all know that we've been told, hey, Africa shouldn't be on our bucket list anywhere. But after looking at this, I'm sure you're thinking, they told me it was something else. Well, this is South Africa. This is Africa. So come and have an amazing experience. We want you guys to come here. We are travel and tourism based in Johannesburg, obviously an African American, and we put together some of the best packages, things that you will do with us. You won't do with anyone else if you come in on tour. So we make everything easy for you simply because we plan everything, immaculately. So when you do arrive, you feel like a VIP. You feel like you exist. You feel like you should have been here your entire life. And I think that's why people keep coming back to South Africa, simply because they like Durban, they love Cape Town. Hard to make a decision which one is the best. But then again, there's always Johannesburg sitting there, making it difficult for you to choose. So if you will, reach out to us via our website, therealsouthafrica.com, and we can make your adventure here to South Africa amazing. As we like to say here, see you in sunny South Africa.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.